So the objective of this lecture is to give you basic understanding of stock valuation, a very popular topic in basic finance. And the concept of stock valuation will give you understanding under one method, that how price of common stock is calculated. Remember that when we say price, it doesn't mean that we are calculating market price of a stock. So in advanced topic, we will discuss that what would be the concept behind the price. These are the basic learning objectives of the chapter. Understand the investor required return. Understand how stock prices depend on future dividends and growth. Be able to compute stock prices using the dividend growth model. Understand the two-stage model growth and three-stage model valuation. Computation of investor required return. Concept of dividend discount model. Zero growth, constant growth, and supernormal growth model. But I would suggest that if you have to get a more better understanding how to calculate supernormal growth, you must join a video on the topic in which I will cover the calculation on Excel. That will help you a lot. So if you subscribe the channel, like it, then the new videos will come automatically to you and you will be able to get the calculation yourself. The concept of a stock valuation, a process through which we determine the intrinsic value of per share. Whether you use term intrinsic value or fair value, both are same. There is no difference. So we are actually interested that what should be the price of a stock if a stock is paying certain dividend, whether the company is paying dividend or not, or whether company is paying constant dividend, or whether the dividend is fluctuating. If you buy a share of a stock, you can receive cash in two ways. Just assume that today you are buying a stock and holding it for 1 year. So we are assuming that at the end of the year, a company will pay dividend, and this dividend will be received by investor. And simultaneously, if after receiving the dividend, if investor is planning to sell the stock, so naturally to some price he will sell that uh, stock and he will obtain some price. So there are two cash flows that an investor will receive, one in the form of dividend and the second in the form of stock price. In previous lecture, we have already covered this concept in the form of dividend, where the price uh, of stock is the present value of these expected cash flows. So the dividend that you will receive, the stock price that you will receive, if you discount all these cash flow, you can get the fair price of the stock. This is the timeline, and this is very important when you are visualizing in your mind that how stock price move and how dividend and various terms we use. So remember that whenever you are using term P naught, P naught will be used at right now, and right now in generally in finance we take on Jan 1st of any year. In a similar way, if I am taking D1, means dividend that you will receive, one is indicating that we are talking about a dividend that you will receive at the end of first year. Remember that this dividend will not be received over here. This dividend will be received at the end of year one. In a similar way, think how whatever dividend you will receive at the end of second year, what term you can use? Yes, D2. In a similar way, think what dividend you will receive over here and what term or what symbol you can use over here. Yes, you are right. This is D3. And in similar way, uh, at the end of the fourth year, we will receive this dividend. And if we sell the stock at the end of the 4 year, we will use term P4. These are the important symbol. Like D naught will be used current dividend or the dividend which is just paid by company. D1 will be used for dividend you will receive after 1 year, and so on. In a similar way, P naught term will be used for the current price, P1 price at the end of year 1, P2 price at the end of year 2, and so on. Remember that these terms will play very important role when you are planning to attempt a question on stock valuation, because if you are placing a wrong symbol on your formula, so naturally you will get a wrong answer, though you will be happy that I solved the question, but the answer will be wrong. So this is important that if question is giving you D naught and you are placing it as D1, or question is giving you D1 and you are thinking that question is giving you D naught, so naturally the whole concept will spoil. When we talk about investor required return, so keep it in mind that investor is receiving two types of return. One in the form of dividend and the second in the form of capital gain. Remember that capital gain is possible as well as capital loss is also possible depending at what price you are selling. If you are selling at a price which is higher than the price at which you bought, so naturally you will get capital gain, and in case if you selling it at a lower price, so you will not gain capital gain. In that case you will suffer loss. So these can be taken in these two forms. This is the dividend that you received and this is the capital gain you receive. When you add these two, you get the total return from this investment, or in future you are expecting that this is the return that you will be able to get. So this is the symbol that we will use in our calculation and in our working. In most of the textbooks, you will find similar kind of titles depending whether you are using capital uh, symbols or small symbols. So RI will be used for investor required return. D1 upon P naught will be used for dividend yield, and P1 minus P naught upon P naught will be used for capital gain. So individually, I have disclosed all the terms in the previous slides. So if you get confused, then go back to the previous slides and again check what is meant by D1, what is meant by P naught, because if you are not practicing the concepts over here, then the question when it will appear, it would be difficult for you to understand and apply various symbols. Now, this is the first question. The company has a dividend yield of 8%. It means that uh, investor is successfully obtained a dividend return in the form of cash flow 8%. If dividend is expected to grow at a constant rate of 5%, means you are expecting that whatever dividend company paid, this dividend will grow by a 5%. What must be the expected rate of return on the company stock? So this is dividend yield. This is the growth that you are expecting that you will be able to generate from this company. So the working will be like this. Dividend yield is 8%, capital growth is 5%, and if we apply this formula, so dividend yield plus capital gain, the actual return will come, and that is 13%. So see that if you know the dividend yield, you know the growth rate, then it is possible for you to find out how much return investor will be able to obtain from his investment. And mathematical students, those who are mathematically sound, it is possible for them that if any information is missing, then they can calculate it with the help of mathematical manipulation. Now current price of a stock is 20. So now think, what should be the symbol of this current price of a stock? If you're not sure, then again go to the previous slides and see that what term we can use for the current price of a stock. Expected price after 1 year is 22.5. So student, carefully see that we cannot put a single symbol for both the prices. One price is 20, another price is 22.5. So naturally we need to put different sign over here. If we are keeping this as current price, then this price would be taken as year end price. So these are the two terms we will use for it. P naught will be used for current price and P1 will be used price after 1 year. See that investor required return is 18%. What percentage of dividend should company pay? When investor required return is given, it means we can again use this formula. But now look, question is providing you help that investor required return which is here. This is already given 18%. So naturally, one part of this right hand side of the equation can be computed with the help of this information. So see, D1 is given, not given. P naught is given, yes, given. P1 is given, yes, P1 is given. P naught in P naught, of course, it is already given. So you will put it like this. 18% is the investor required return, which is given. Dividend yield is missing because as you can see, dividend is demanding by the question, but it is not provided in the question. This whole information is available. P1 is given 22.5, P naught is given 20 and divided by 20. So we will mathematically manipulate it and the final answer will be 5.5. So on Excel sheet, we can work on this one. We can calculate it ourselves. And when I will present Excel working on stock valuation, I hope that you will enjoy that exercise over there. And for that, you can subscribe the channel, like it, and you will get its benefit. Now, student, there are three basic concepts that we use in Gordon dividend discount model. In the first case, we assume that the company has no growth, means company is paying a constant dividend from year to year. When company is at its peak and no further growth intact going forward. The second case which we assume is called constant growth, where on geometrical progression we calculate that the company has a constant growth and this growth will continue from year to year for the foreseeable future. Of course, this will not be an infinite value, but we can assume that this growth rate will remain constant for a certain number of years. And the third one is supernormal growth, and for it, of course, there is no simplified formula, but those students who are quite good in time value of money, they can understand this concept that in this situation, dividend growth will fluctuate and price of the stock will depend on present value of all future inflows that you will be able to get. It is possible that here you can find a multiple growth, sometime high and sometime low. The most basic and fundamental question, where we assume that the company has no growth, it is static and paying the dividend, and this dividend is not going to change. You own a stock that will start paying 0.5 annually at the end of the year. It has zero growth in future. Zero growth means not this dividend will not change in future. If the investor required return is 14%, what should you pay for this stock, or what should be the fair value of this stock? So remember, whenever you are attempting this kind of question in a stock valuation, you should be very good in the basic symbols that you use in this chapter. If your symbols are not good in your understanding, then it would be very difficult to understand the concept. Look, D1, whether you keep it D1 or you keep it D0 doesn't make any difference, because as you know that this dividend is not going to change. Question is giving you required rate of return 14% that I am placing as RI, and question is asking you what should you pay per share. This is taken as P naught, the actual requirement of the question. So we will use this formula. We will put all the values, and you can get 3.57 per share. So this is the price at which stock should be fairly priced. Those who are willing to invest in the market, if a stock is available at lower than this price, then they should buy it. And if a stock is placed in the market more than this price, then it will be taken as overvalued stock, and you shouldn't uh, prefer to buy that one. Even you can short sell it. I do hope that so far you have a good understanding of the basic symbol. But in case if you are still facing problem, then review this video again. Go back to the initial stage, find out all the symbols, because symbols understanding are very important when you're working on this kind of chapter. You own a stock that will start paying $3 annually at the end of the year. So now the question is, what symbol we should use over here? Whether it should be taken as D naught, it should be taken as D1, it should be taken as D2, what term should be used? It has zero future growth. If the current price is 50, oh, current price is given in the question, then what will be the implied required rate of return to the investor? So now look, current price, we now familiar that what term should be used. So these are the data which is available. D1 is 3, price is already given. Since it was current price, so I'm placing it as P naught, and we are interested to find out required return. So the formula will remain same. You will just manipulate it and get the answer of 6%. So in this way, student, if you have in your knowledge that two values are given, you can find the third one. So suppose these two are given, you can find the R. If these two are given, then you can find the D1. In similar fashion, you can practice it in many different ways, and you can see that whether your answers are coming which are already given in the question or not. Now look, you bought a stock today at 40. So this 40 should be taken as P naught. Investor required return is 12. So RI is 12%. What dividend will you receive from this stock? So dividend we can calculate with the help of this one. So now you will put these two information, cross multiply it and get the dividend. It is coming 4.8. I'm confident enough that you know that if 12% is given, 12% will not be written like this on your calculator. 12% means you will write 0.12 on your calculator, multiply that 0.12 to 40. So it will give you answer of 4.8 per share. It means that this company should pay a dividend of 4.8 at the end of the year. This is a constant growth model. It seems difficult and somehow tricky as compared to the previous one, but you can simply understand it if you have a basic mathematical understanding that in case of constant growth model, P naught, the price, is depending on D1 divided by investor required return minus growth. You can calculate by using this formula, or you can use this formula to calculate in case if you are interested to find out a rate of return. But whatever formula you will use, if you have a basic mathematical understanding, you can attempt your question in a comfortable way. Now giving you a demonstration for this one. Now come to this one. See that how we are applying it. Suppose this company just paid a dividend of per share. Now recall, if company just paid a dividend, it cannot be taken as P1. It should be taken as P naught because this is the current dividend which is paid by the company. It is expected to increase its dividend by 2% per year. So this 2% increase in dividend will be taken as growth rate of the dividend. If the market requires a return of 15%, this is investor required return. How much should the stock be selling for? So this is the data which is available. See, D naught is taken as zero point 0.5 as given in the question. Investor required return is given 15%. Growth rate is given 2%. And question is asking how much should the stock be selling for P naught. So now we will apply our constant growth formula to calculate this one. Since we have D naught information in question, so we place D naught, we will multiply it with growth, so we will be able to get D1. So you can do it like this. Again, keep it in mind that 2% means 0.02. When you are applying on your calculator, you should be very careful when you are working in percentage. So 0.5 is your dividend that you recently paid by the company. This is your growth factor, and R minus G, this is your required investor return, and this is growth rate. Once you will compute it, you will get the price of 3.92. So in question, it is possible that sometime you will find D naught given, then you can go with the help of this technique, right? But if you find that question is not providing you D naught, question is providing you D1, then you can directly apply this formula to solve the question. Now look this one. Just paid dividend of 2, while constant growth rate around 5%, currently selling at 21. What is the implied required return you will get from this investment? Student, if we are interested to work on this question, then we will understand that the informations which are given in the question should be converted into symbols. Once these are converted into symbols, then it will be easier for you to understand. So just paid a dividend of 2, so it should be taken as D naught as we discussed earlier. Constant growth rate, this is showing growth rate, and stock currently trading at 21. Carefully see, stock currently trading at 21, this will be taken as P naught. So these are the symbols which will play important role. Why this dividend is taken as D naught, why growth is coming 5%, what symbol we are using for this 21, why not we are writing it as P1, or why not we are writing it as P2. So this is important, and you need to practice it many times at the start of the lecture where I emphasizes it. Then it will help you a lot to understand the mathematical working. So this is the process through which we will work on it. We are interested to find out investor required return, so we are using this formula. We are taking D1, we will divide it by P naught plus growth. D1, as it was not given, we are using D naught. D naught is 2. We are increasing it by the growth rate. So the D1 will come with the help of this information. We will divide by P naught, which is 21, and we will add the growth percentage which is given. So it will give you a final answer of 15%. Student, I'm expecting that those who have a basic good understanding of mathematics, they can apply this formula and calculate it yourself, whether you are getting a right answer or not. This is much better for practicing it rather than only checking the answer through slides. Now in this question, this company expected to pay year-end dividend of 3. See that now the company did not pay it right now. The company is expected to pay it at the end of year 3. So I'm assuming that now students are quite familiar and they can recall in their mind that what symbol should be used here uh, to attempt this part. Stock currently trades at 40. What symbol should be used for this one? Investor required return from this investment is 15%. What symbol should be used for this one? and what is the implied growth rate. Question is asking you to find out implied growth rate that we can easily find. This is the data which is available. Look, why we are saying that this one is D1, why not sir is using it as D0, why symbol is changing. R is 15%. Okay, this is given here that investor required return from this investment is 15%. Currently trading at 40. So this I'm taking it as P naught. This is 40%. And question is interested to find out growth rate. So this is the formula that you will apply. You will manipulate it. So this is the mathematical working that will arrive. We know the R is 15%. We know that dividend is 3. Remember, you can go by this formula or you can go by this formula. It's up to you. You can use any one, whichever is uh, you are quite comfortable in. If you think that you are more comfortable with this one, you can apply this one, or you can directly go to this one. So 15% is the R which is given, D1 is 3 which is given here, P naught is 40 which is given here, and you are trying to find out growth. I'm expecting that your basic mathematics will help you and you will be able to get a growth rate of 7.5%. It is possible that your calculator is giving you 0.075. In that situation, you can multiply it by 100 to convert it into percentage. Year-end dividend of 13, stock currently trading at 40. Now look, company expected to pay year-end dividend of 3. So this dividend is coming here. Currently stock trading for 40. So this is coming as 40. I think that question bit mixed. So rather than working on this question, I'm skipping this slide. We will see this later on, that how we work on this one. Come to supernormal growth model. See that this is quite difficult as compared to the previous one. So I would suggest that if you have done the previous practice and you are quite comfortable, then come to this one. And if you still think that you are not quite comfortable, then go back from start and review the topic which I have covered so far. And once you are quite comfortable in those topics, then come and try to understand this one. Look, why this is difficult? Because it is not simply taking a single formula. It is based on the present value of all the future cash inflows that a company is expected to pay you, as well as stock price at the end of the time period. So uh, uh, here growth can be taken based on the return on equity and one multiply by retention ratio. Retention ratio is whatever you are keeping in your business after paying dividend to the stockholders. Company paid last year a dividend of 2. Further, investors expect their dividend growth 20% for the next 2 years, and then 10% next 3 years, and 5% forever thereafter. Calculate future dividend payments. So now think, what symbol should use and how to calculate various year dividend. So this is the timeline which we are establishing on this one. Now think that where you will keep this dividend. Here, should be here, should be here, or here. I think that if you understand the last year dividend, that it should be taken as current dividend which company paid so far. So it should be taken here. Now check again. Further, investor expected dividend growth 20% for the next 2 years. If dividend is growing for 20% for the next 2 years, so this dividend will be 2.4. How come it is 2.4. It's very easy. Take 20% of this amount and add in this one. If you will take 20% of this amount and add in it, you will see that your calculator will give you answer of 2.4. In a similar way, you can apply 20% on this one, and that 20% should be added in 2.4. You will get 2.88. But student, after these 2 years, question is changing it, and then 10% for the next 3 years. It means that after D2, dividend will not grow by 20%. Now for the next 3 years, it will grow by 10%. So over here, dividend will be 3.7. How will you calculate it? Of course, I will present it on the Excel sheet. Here I am just giving you a basic support that if you take 10% of this one and add again in the 2.88, so your total result will become 3.17. So now this will become 3.48, it will become 3.83. See, these three dividend, D3, D4 and D5 will grow by 10%. As per question, that next 3 years it will grow by 10% and 5% forever. So can you calculate what dividend company should pay at the end of the 6th year? I'm sure you can. How? This dividend is given 3.83. If you just hold your video over here, calculate 5% on this one and add that 5% in this, I'm sure that you will be able to get a dividend of 4.02. Now, I would suggest that revise this concept from here. Go back to video again and again put this timeline in front of you, calculate all dividend yourself and see that whatever answer I'm showing, whether you are reaching to the same answer or not. This is the mathematical calculation this is given over here, and I hope that this will help you a lot to understand that how dividend is moving from year to year. In case if you get confused anywhere and if you find a mistake, then you can give on your comments. I will highly appreciate that one. Student, these are the symbols that we are using. See that, are you comfortable with this one? See, just pay dividend of 1. Investor believed that dividend would grow by 15% for the next 2 years. So D1 by 15%, D2 by 15%. In year 3, company will pay 10%. So in year 3, it is increasing by 10. And after that, it will grow by 5%. So after that, I am increasing it by 5%. So you can calculate, as I suggested here, that when you are working on a supernormal growth, then the year in which you are interested to find out the total value, it will be taken as P naught. So actually your question is asking you that what price you should pay. Read from here. What is the maximum value investor can pay for this stock if the required rate of return is 15%? So in this type of question, we carefully check that in which year dividend is going to be constant. If dividend is going to be constant in 4th year, then we calculate price at the end of the 3rd year. And to calculate price of the 3rd year, we will need dividend of the 4th year. So we are using D4, that is 1.53, and applying 15% constant growth model, and the price is coming 15.3. If you are interested to find out P naught, you will discount all the cash inflows that company is paying you, taking from D1 to D3. So we are taking 1.15, 1.32, and this is the dividend that you will receive in year 3, as well as the price that you calculated over here. Once you will discount it, then you will get a current fair value of 13.0. I understand that this calculation somehow is quite tedious here as compared to the basic concept that we discussed earlier. So if you have to get more better understanding of this calculation, then you must visit the video that I will present on the Excel sheet, related to the stock valuation. There you will see that how we calculated and how we apply various techniques over there. This is another question with the same concepts, that company has earning of 5 per share, and then company is increasing it, and company is paying 40% in the dividend. It means that company is not paying the entire amount. Company is paying only 40% of that. Then you can calculate it like this. See, I'm taking earning of the last year 5 and first year earning is 6. So we are calculating D1 of 2.4 based on the earning which is given in the question. Again, using the Gordon growth model, so we will be able to calculate price of 129.6, and when you will add all this, you will be able to calculate the price of 105.24. Remember that this question is not coming at a basic stage. This question is only for those students who are have a good understanding of the chapter so far that we have covered. So if you are feeling this question more difficult, then I would suggest go and revise all the concepts. Once you are quite good in the basic practice, then come back to this question and then revise it. So that revision will help you. That earning per share for the company is 5. This earning I'm giving here pays out 40%. It means that company is not paying the entire earning. Company is paying only 40%. So from this information, I successfully calculated that how much dividend company should pay in the coming year in D1, D2, and D3, and then we calculate answer with this one. I hope that you will practice it and you will try to improve your concepts. In case of any question, any query, you can give your comments, and you can ask there for the practice material. When I will show you Excel sheet, there I will give you few questions which you will try yourself, and then you will see that how we reach on the answer with the help of Excel formulas. Thank you very much.